Hey yogis, welcome to Limitless Yoga Studio Online. My name is Kelsey Wright and this is Watson. We are going to work on shoulders today, really getting out the grumpiness. We're going to start with a block challenge, which is going to be a fun way to kind of see where your sticky spots might be in your shoulders. And then we're going to work to improve that and then try it at the end of class and see how it changed. You're going to need 2 blocks for sure, and then a ball for some myofascial release at the end of class. Remember, if you enjoy this class, please like, comment, subscribe, and in the link below, there is a Patreon account for you to support new content coming out. So let's get going. We're going to start with that block challenge. So with a block in your hand, you want to hold it as if you're holding a tray of champagne flutes. Imagine, absolutely still, confident, not going to spell them, right? Then what we're going to work on is moving in towards the body. So that's internal rotation of the arm. We're going to sweep outwards. So external rotation. Eventually, as we come up overhead, we're going to sweep like you're making a halo shape all around. Okay. So I know it kind of looks a little bit like magic, but it's all the rotations of the shoulders. We're going to do it again. We're going to go inwards towards the body, sweep around in a circle, taking it out. We're going to reach up overhead and draw a big halo around the head and then land back where we started. Okay, we're going to try the other side. Sides are going to be very different, no worries. Okay, if at all possible, try not to grip the block with your fingers. Try to keep it very level, so if you were to do that, it would actually fall. All right, so with your champagne flutes, we're going to go in towards the body. We're going to go out away from the body. We're going to come up overhead, big sweeping motion around that halo shape and land right back where we started. One more time. In, out, up, around, and back. Okay, so no worries if the block fell, if it was a little sticky or rusty. We're going to do some shoulder openers. We're going to work all the muscles around this area and then try it at the end of class and see what's going on. Take your 2 blocks to the back of your mat. You want the letter T with about 5 inches in between. That's going to be the space for your neck. So as you lay on down, it's going to be 1 shoulder blade on either side of the first block and head on the second. Okay, as I roll down, I want to be very specific about the placement of the first block between the shoulder blades, because if it gets too far down the spine, it feels weird in the low back. And if it's up too high on the spine, the neck's going to feel a little weird. So just kind of move around, find that happy medium where you can just drape yourself over these blocks. It feels really nice. And you can choose bent knees or straight legs, whatever feels best on the low back. With the eyes closed down, see if you can melt the muscles of the face, dropping the jaw, dropping the tongue, and then just becoming this blank slate so you're not spending any extra energy anywhere. As you breathe gently in and out the nose, we want to try to slowly build towards this 360 degrees around the waistline. In this position with the blocks, you kind of have a unique opportunity to breathe into the back body because you have this little bit of space between the bottom block and your tailbone. So as you breathe, try to fill that space up. Each inhale getting a little bit bigger as you create more space, as you stretch into more space. Searching for every nook and cranny in the belly, the ribs, and the chest. As each inhale continues to search for more space, for more air, your exhales are going to allow the shoulders to get heavier, more relaxed, and maybe feel more of a stretch across the across the collarbone area. We're not trying to force our breath or stress anything, so just let it come naturally, building slowly. If at any point this position feels natural and there's not really any kind of sensation of stretch, then you can always remove the pillow block, which will deepen that stretch across the collarbones. Now, if you choose to do this and immediately feel something in the neck and you regret your choice, just place the block right back underneath the neck because we want everything supported enough that we don't have to spend any energy holding anything up off the floor. We really do want to be a rag doll here. Some of us may have our hands down by our sides, which is going to be a little less intense of a stretch. Others may have that T position of the body with the hands at shoulder height. We're going to take 3 more giant cycles of breath, maybe using the inhale to deepen the sense of massage as you feel the pressure increase between the shoulder blades. And you might use the exhale to increase the massage. As you get heavier, you feel the block press up into the spine. 2 more giant cycles of breath like this. Inhale, maybe counting how long it takes you to fill up. so that you can compare that with the exhale. Maybe doing your best to even out those numbers so we have a smooth cadence of breath that's going to get us through class. One more giant cycle of breath. And then when you've squeezed out all that old air, feel free to flutter open the eyes. We're going to reach the hands up overhead, take a full body stretch over these blocks, reaching through the fingers and the toes, kind of noticing what those shoulders feel like. And then take the arms across the chest, making an X shape. We're going to gently rock right and left, allowing the shoulder blades to spill over the edges of the blocks. Now you might start small here, kind of feeling out what needs attention. And then eventually you might get bigger and bigger. Shoulders can go to the floor if that feels comfortable. We just want to stay in the realm of productive rather than painful. So if you like this rocking motion, I want you to stay here. If you want to try something different, I'm going to make some shapes with my arms. So I'm kind of like a lazy swimming motion. But for me, this digs the corners of the blocks a little bit more underneath my shoulder blades, which is where I personally have my spots that need addressed. So feel free to take shapes, or if anything feels good, do it. We want to kind of stay organic in the motion. And then when you feel something good, you can just pause, hang out for a breath, and melt into it. We got 2 more cycles of breath to get whatever you need, just softening up that really cranky area of it in the mid back. We tend to be a little sticky, a little rusty here, usually because we have to sit over our technology all day. All right, let's take one more full body stretch. Reach the fingers, reach the toes. Maybe that feels a little different from the first one we took. And then draw the arms down by the sides. We're going to come up off the blocks, get them off your mat and out of your way. We'll need them here in just a second. And then as you come right back down, we're going to draw the knees into the chest and give yourself a big squeeze. Wiggle the toes, roll out the ankles, go ahead and get out those pops and creaks. And then if you want to massage the low back, feel free to rock right and left, or maybe even draw some circles on the ceiling, a few in one direction and a few in the other. Just kind of waking everything up, ironing out the wrinkles. All right, we're going to place the feet about hip distance apart first, hands down by the sides, pressing to the feet, lift up the hips, lift up the hands, rise a wave up the spine, tap those floorboards behind you, and then bring yourself down, tucking the tailbone towards the heels. As you roll up, try to get that full range of motion with your shoulders, shoulder blades, neutral down the back, bring it down. We got 2 more. 1 vertebra at a time lifts up off the mat, and then we're going to bring it right back down with that nice long low back. 1 more. Rise up. This isn't about how high you can get. This is about how you can articulate the spine and get the kinks out of the shoulders. All right, land back down. We're going to tee the arms out to the side, draw both knees into the chest. This time, drop the knees to the right. Hang out here for a moment, maybe feeling a pec stretch on the left. Do your best to keep that left shoulder grounded. We've got 1 cycle of breath here. And on the exhale, I want you to firm up the belly, bring the knees back to center, and switch it to the opposite side. Knees headed over to the left. Maybe some blocks in the way. Right shoulder is going to stay grounded. Gaze is going to stay up towards the ceiling. On your next exhale, you'll draw the belly in, bring the knees back to center. We're going to add on to this motion. So take your knees over to the right. This time the left hand's going to follow. You're going to high five yourself. All right, with the palms touching, the left hand's going to draw a giant rainbow shape up overhead, kind of dragging your fingernails on the floor. Come right back to that giant pec stretch that we had just a moment ago, and then bring it back and do it 2 more times. So we're high-fiving ourselves, and then we're drawing this rainbow. It's okay if the fingers don't stay in contact with the floor. It's okay if you don't make it near as wide as what I'm doing, but you basically just want to find your range of motion, your stretch, and then pause. From up the belly, bring the knees back to center and head over in the opposite direction. I'm going to bring the right hand with me to high five the left. With my head relaxed, I'm going to draw the fingers up overhead, just testing the range of motion, seeing what I've got in my shoulders, and noticing if side is different than the other. Sides are always going to be a little bit different. That's just being human. But we do want to recognize if one side is really cranky versus the other, that might indicate something going on. So we just want to take stock of that. We got 1 more big sweeping rainbow arc up overhead to land in that pec stretch on the right. Firming up the belly, bring the knees back to center. Pause here. I'm going to take the right arm up towards the ceiling like I'm doing plank. The left hand is going to sweep underneath. I'm going to make a tight X shape on my chest. Now I can choose to just grab my shoulders here, or if I want that eagle bind, I can clap my palms together. Take an inhale. On your exhale, rise up, tap the elbows towards the knees. We've got 5 of these. As you pull the elbows away from the body, you're going to feel that big stretch between the shoulder blades. We got 2 more here, these little eagle crunches. And after this last one, I'm going to pause and take the arms back out, open the chest. Big inhale. On your exhale, the left hand comes straight up overhead. The right hand's going to sweep underneath. And again, I can choose just to wrap the hands to shoulders, or I can take the hands towards one another. Big inhale. Exhale, drive the elbows toward the knees. We want to keep the neck neutral here, so try not to tuck the chin. And then we got 3 more here. See if we can find a little bit of space between the shoulder blades. Feel that nice big stretch. Last one is here. Bring yourself 1 more time to that big T position. Big inhale. And then exhale, grab a hold of the knees. We're going to rock and roll a few times up and down the spine, just connecting the brain with each and every vertebra, a little massage. And then we're going to pop up to a seated position and sit up nice and tall. Okay, I'm going to turn to face you guys so you can see what's going on. Sitting up nice and tall, we're going to take the hands up overhead. Now picture your shoulder blades on your back. I want them to go up and down, okay, as far up into the ears and as far down into your jean pockets. So I like to call this north and south on the back. North, south, north, south. All right, now bend your elbows. We're going to take the elbows together. So now the shoulder blades are away from the spine, and now we're going to squeeze them into the spine. So I like to call this east and west on the back, right? So shoulder blades can move in 4 different directions: northeast, southwest, all right? Last one is here. All right, now we're just going to isolate the right shoulder blade. I want you to go north, east, south, and west in a circular motion. Arm is along for the ride, so try not to make this about the arm motion. Try to visualize that shoulder blade scrubbing circles on the back. Up, around, down, and in. Up, around, down, and in. One more: north, east, south, and west. Release and do the other side. We're going to go up, around the corner, down into your jean pocket, and squeeze it in the spine. Up, around, down, and in. The first couple times you do this, it's going to be kind of herky-jerky, and it's not going to make a lot of sense. It's going to take a second for the brain to figure out what you're trying to do, to get all those rotator cuff muscles working for you. But it's a really powerful tool to use maybe once a day while you're seated at your desk in order to keep those shoulders happy. Okay? All right, now take your hands out away from you. I want you to grab dials on the walls. I want you to spin those dials forward. So it's going to go fingers forward, wrists, elbows, shoulders, until you naturally curve the spine. Now take your dials back, fingers, wrists, elbows, shoulders, until your heart naturally tilts up towards the sky. So I want you to take your fingers forward until the arms are completely rotated. They couldn't possibly go any further. And then do the same backwards. Wring yourself out so those shoulders are getting their max range of motion. One more. We're going to go forward all the way. Don't tilt the shoulders until you naturally do so. And then same thing as you go back, fingers, wrists, elbows, and then eventually it'll tilt the chest up towards the sky. All right, hands come down. Roll it on over. Find your way to hands and knees. We're going to stack everything up so the shoulders are on top of the wrists, the hips are on top of the knees, and we're going to do a couple cat-cow. So with your breath, inhale, gently drop the ribs towards the floor. Exhale, push into the palms, arch up the ribs, tucking the tailbone towards the nose. As you move with your breath, try not to get wrapped up too much in the up and down motion. We really want to prioritize the length of the spine. So nose to tailbone is as long as you can possibly get it as you move up and down. You might want to imagine your spine like a slinky. We want as much space between each coil as possible. All right, last one, and then we're going to bring it to a nice neutral spine. The right foot is going to step to the right pinky finger. So we're going to lunge forward until you feel this in the groin area or the inseam of your pants, and then you're going to pull back, maybe peeling the footprint up off the floor to find that hamstring stretch. So as you move forward and back, keeping this dynamic, you're going to feel the hips and the back line of the leg. We got one more, and then we're going to add in the shoulder. All right, next time you're forward in a lunge, I want you to pause, take the right arm, and then windmill it to the back of the room, keeping the shoulder blade neutral down the back. Bring it forward. So when I say neutral, I mean it's not up in your ear, but it's also not forced down your back. Okay, we got one more here, and then you can choose to combine the movements if you want. Here I go. Hey, I can continue with this motion, or as I reach back, I'm going to straighten out my leg. And as I come forward, I'll deepen the bend of the knee. So I'm getting that lunge for the groin area. I'm getting the hamstring stretch, but I'm adding in that big shoulder rotation. We're going to do one more big movement here, and then we'll be finished. Hands come down. I'm going to sweep that foot all the way back to the very back of the mat. Inhale, right hand comes up. Tuck this hand to the small of the back, maybe energetically pulling the fingers towards wrapping the ribs. That's going to help encourage that right shoulder head to roll back and give yourself a nice pec stretch on the right. Take a big inhale. Do your best to keep that bind as the left hand reaches up overhead, gate pose. Shoulder blade again is going to stay neutral down the back as you look up underneath the armpit and get that giant left side body stretch. On your exhale, we'll cartwheel it all the way down. Right fingers are going to reach for the front of the room, create a rainbow shape from fingers to toes. And then we'll bring the hands down. I'll meet you hands and knees so we can do the second side. Left footprint to left pinky finger. We're going to move forward until you feel that groin stretch, and then come on back and then feel the back line of the leg. So it's okay if the footprint doesn't come up off the floor. Maybe eventually one day it will. You just want to stay with a stretch and not a strain. Okay, just finding your range of motion here as we warm up. Last one, I'm going to add in the shoulders. All right, here we go. Come forward and pause. Left hand's going to go full range of motion all the way forward and back, kind of like you're doing the back stroke and the forward stroke. You're swimming through space. Shoulder blade is neutral again. We don't want to feel it smooshed up into our ear, and we also don't want to have it forcibly locked down our back. Choose to stay right here with this rotation, or I'm going to add in the legs. Straightening out as I reach back, and then bringing it forward in a low lunge 2 more like that. Forward and back. And it's okay if you have different options on different sides, depending on what you're feeling like today, or if you're dealing with rehabbing an injury. All right, 1 more. And then as we come back, we're going to pause. Left foot sweeps back. Take an inhale. Exhale, left hand comes up into the small of the back. I'm going to energetically pull the fingers down towards my mat, maybe wrapping around the ribs, gazing up towards the ceiling if possible, and rolling the left shoulder head back. I'm going to try to keep that pec stretch as I reach that right hand up overhead. Again, that shoulder blade is neutral, not squished up in the ears. I'm going to revolve the chest up towards the sky, take a peek under that armpit, big breath. And then exhale, come down. Brace yourself with the right hand. Left hand's going to reach forward. I'm going to spin the hand so the pinky lands down. Again, that's so my shoulder blade can stay down and not get squished up in my ear. Take a big breath. And exhale, I'll meet you down on hands and knees. All right, we're rolling all the way down to the belly for this one. We're going to take the left elbow at 90 degrees. We're going to float it up off the floor so I know that my shoulder head is hugged up into the socket. Then I'm going to slide it as far away from my body as I can so I know that I'm as long through the pec as possible. Then I'm going to plant the forearm while maintaining that left shoulder head up into the socket. As I start to roll over, I'm going to pause when I find a good healthy pec stretch across the left shoulder head. If I want to rest my head, I can, but just don't let that droop the shoulder head down to the floor. All right, 1 more big breath here. And then bring it back center, and we'll switch out the sides. Right elbow, 90 degrees. Lift it, slide it, and then plant it. Keep the right shoulder head hugged up off the floor. So basically, I could put my hand right under that shoulder head if necessary. And then you want to find your rotation. Stop when you find that good, healthy stretch, not overdoing it. 1 big breath here as I feel that strap across the front of the shoulder head. And then I'll bring it back to center. Okay, hands to the rib cage. Pop up hands and knees. Immediately drop the butt to the heels. Take a big inhale. And exhale, sink down. Once you have that long spine, walk your hands over to the right. Left fingers are in charge here. So if you want a deeper stretch on the left side, they're going to walk forward and maybe find you a little more intensity. Nice. Bring it back to center. Find that nice long spine. Take a breath. And then we'll head over to the left. So this time the right fingers are in charge. Walk them forward and find your stretch on the side. Take a breath. Last time back to center, and then we're going to bring it all the way up to hands and knees. All right, situate yourself on your mat so that you can energetically hug the thumbs towards one another. You're going to feel those shoulder heads kind of suck into their socket. Now you're ready to bear weight. Press back into plank, feet hip distance apart, big inhale, and then exhale into down dog. Again, keeping those shoulder blades neutral. We want some buoyancy in down dog. We don't want them up in our ears. We don't want them locked down our back. So kind of be able to move around and take a big breath. All right. Looking forward, stepping forward, top of the mat. I'll see you there. Inhale, fingertips to shins, and exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees if you need. Inhale, rise up, reach up, get nice and tall. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, we've got 2 sun A's here, and then we'll move into our sun B's. So when you're ready, top of the mat, feet hip distance apart. Let's get into these shoulders. Inhale, hands up overhead. I want you to create a diamond shape here. So I have my fingertips touching. Shoulder blades, again, are neutral. And then I want to recreate this diamond on my back. So fingernails are going to be tapping the tailbone. Again, shoulder blades neutral. Okay, so take a few of these, getting this motion, because we're going to be doing this in Cobra. It's going to be a little more difficult in Cobra. And I'm going to give you an option to deepen this. Okay, it's going to help strengthen those rotator cuff muscles. Really healthy for the shoulders. Here we go. Inhale, hands up overhead to create that diamond. Exhale, forward fold this time. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, step the right foot back and pause. We're going to drop that right knee and then inhale, rise up with those shoulder blades down the back. Okay, from here, we're going to take the hands forward like karate chops. Your left palm is going to flip, and then you're going to turn on your windshield wipers here. We're going to go 3 times back and forth, keeping the shoulder blade from scooching up in the ear. And then go ahead and take 1 more big old swipe, cleaning off those windows. All right, from here, we're going to pause. Right hand comes down. Solidify that right shoulder as you sweep that left foot back. Take a big inhale. Exhale, hand goes to the small of the back to open up the pec, maybe looking up at the ceiling. From here, hands come down. Step back into plank. Rock to the tiptoes, lower to the belly. Feel free to use your knees to do so. Okay, with your nose on the floor, I want you to keep your nose on the floor. Create that diamond shape up overhead, and then create it on your low back. Without the shoulder blades scooching up in the ears, go ahead and see maybe if you can play with the idea of lifting the fingers a little higher up off the floorboards and a little higher up off the small of your back. The higher you get, the more difficult it is going to be. Okay? So find the intensity level that's okay for you. Keep your nose on the floor like you're smooching your mat here. We got 2 more. You're going to feel a little bit of heat building right around that shoulder head area. Want all those shoulder muscles, all those little stabilizers doing their job, working hard, keeping us safe. Last one. All right, hands to the rib cage. Find your plank, maybe with the use of your knees, and then I'll see you in down dog to lengthen it all out. Remember to stay buoyant in your down dog, then looking forward, stepping forward, top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, forward fold, chin to chest. Inhale, rise up, get nice and tall. Exhale, take the right hand to the nape of your neck and the left hand to the small of your back. You're going to inhale, open up the chest by pushing the head back into that cradle, and then we'll switch it out. Maybe with the intention of the fingers getting closer together, but not at the expense of feeling any compression in the shoulders, okay? So again, we are going to do this in our cobras. Here we go. Inhale, 10 fingers to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, leaning forward to stack the hips over the heels. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, left foot steps back this time. Drop that left knee. Inhale, rise up. Think about that spine being a slinky as you rise up and take those karate chops forward. Your right hand is going to flip and then turn on your windshield wipers. Okay? That shoulder blade, again, is going to stay neutral down the back so we're not squeezing them up in the ear. We got one more. Clean those windows. And then pause. Left hand comes down. Brace that left shoulder into the socket. Step your right foot back. Right hand's going to go to the small of the back. Rotate the rib cage up towards the ceiling for a breath. And then exhale, right hand comes down. Stepping back into plank, rocking the tiptoes. Use your knees if you need to as you lower to the belly. Okay, with your nose on the floor again. Right hand to the nape of the neck, left hand to the small of the back. Take an inhale. Take an exhale. All right, on your next inhale, can you lift into a slight cobra? Exhale, switch, lower. Lift, switch, and lower. Lift, switch, and lower. Now, if you don't like the lifting part, you can just do the switch without the lift. All right, feel free. Take one more round. Opening up the chest. Ooh, you can feel that, can't you? All right, and then hands to the rib cage. We're going to come up into plank, press back into down dog, lengthen it out. Looking forward, stepping forward, top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, get tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, if you need to take a drink, grab a break, do that now. I'm going to transfer both of my blocks to the top of the mat. Shoulder distance apart. We're going to need that ball at the end of class. So I'm just going to sneak him over here so hopefully he doesn't run away. All right. Watson's currently enjoying a nap. Aren't you, buddy? All right. No cares. All right. Top of the mat, sun bees. Here we go. Feet hip distance apart. Now, I will guide you through some different ways of modifying vinyasas. But at the end of the day, you need to do what's appropriate for you and what your body needs today, which could be different from what your body needed yesterday and what it needs tomorrow. So just be respectful of your shoulders here. Feet hip distance apart. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, put the thumbs to the back of the neck. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, have a seat down in your chair. Get nice and heavy in those heels. Big inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, your vinyasa. I'm going to skip my first one and just come back into down dog so that you know that is always an option. You can always just step back in the down dog when you hear the word vinyasa. Inhale, right toes up in the sky, big breath. On your exhale, you're going to kick this foot all the way to the top of the mat. All right, from here, drop your back knee. We're going to swim, okay? My left arm is going to backstroke all the way to my back heel, and my right hand reaches for the ceiling. Then I'm going to do the forward stroke all the way until my left hand lands and my right hand reaches up, okay? We'll do that again. You're going to sweep that big windmill action to the back, lifting and lengthening to the spine, and then you're going to windmill the arms forward, right hand towards the ceiling. Okay, one more like that. Big windmill, doing the backstroke with your left hand, maybe placing it on the heel, and then doing that front stroke all the way until the right hand is up in the sky. All right, big inhale here. Exhale, hands come down. Lift your back knee, spin your back heel down, anchor into your heels as you rise up and find your warrior two. So immediately you want to check that 5 toes are pointing forward, and then you go through the middle of our foot. We want to keep that joint safe. Big inhale. Exhale, right hand to the nape of the neck, left hand to the small of the back. Open up the chest, place that head back in the cradle. You've got a breath here. Maybe sinking down a little bit further. Okay, so we're going to create some movement here. As we inhale, straighten out our legs, we're going to switch our arms and then come right back down into our warrior two. As we rise, we switch, and as we sink down, we find that big open stretch of the chest. Okay, we got one more here. And then the next time the right hand is up overhead, you're going to pause, take an inhale. Exhale, keep that open chest as the hands come behind you. Find your bind, interlace, roll the shoulder heads back. Press to the heels, side angle, drawing the right ribs to the right thigh bone, lengthening through the crown of the head. Take a big inhale here. All right, slowly rise up, reach up, straight arms, straight legs, reach for the sky. I'm going to take the hand to the head and drop the head back, finding this big tricep stretch. Inhale. And then exhale, forward and down for triangle pose. I'm going to take the left hand to the back of the head and then look up towards the ceiling, which is going to really open up this left armpit and tricep. Big breath. All right, bend the knee as the hands come down. We're going to walk to the middle of our mat. Heels in, toes out. Find your goddess, rise up. Sink down with your booty back behind you rather than your knees forward. Okay. All right, we're going to grab those dials again. Spin the fingers, wrists, shoulders, and chest forward. And then dial back, fingers, wrists, elbows, shoulders, and chest. One more each direction, maybe noticing things feeling a little bit smoother. Maybe your rotation's a little bit greater. Last one here, and then hands to the floor. We're going to walk forward. Slide back into down dog. You can always vinyasa between sides if you wish. And we're going to do the same thing on the second side. Inhale, left toes up with the left toes pointed down towards the floor. Exhale, kick it all the way through. Drop the knee. We're going to swim. Right hand does the backstroke towards that back heel. Left hand reaches for the sky. Okay, keeping the belly firm, we're going to do the forward stroke as we come all the way down. Right hand to the floor, left hand up to the sky. Okay, again, we're moving in this giant windmill motion, forward and back, keeping the shoulder blades neutral so we don't have them squished up by the ears. Keeping the spine long. We got one last one here. And then bring it all the way down. We're going to pause with the left hand in the sky. Big inhale. Exhale, hands come down, lift your back knee, spin your back heel down. Press into your heels as you rise up with strong legs, strong supported core, moving the hips towards the ribs so you have a long tailbone. Okay, we're going to take the left hand on top, the right hand on bottom, taking the head back into the cradle, bringing that hips down. Take an inhale and an exhale. All right, let's move. We're going to inhale, rise up, straight arms, straight legs. Then exhale, bend the joints. Okay, bent elbows, bent knees. Rise up maybe with the intention of the fingers getting a little closer on the neck spine, kind of testing it out, but not at the expense of any kind of compression or crankiness of the shoulders. All right, next time the left hand is up overhead, we're going to pause in our warrior two, take a breath. And then the hands will go behind the back, interlace. Roll the shoulder heads back, keep the palms sealed, which might mean bends in the elbows, that's fine. Side angle, dropping the left ribs to the thigh bone. As you rise up, straight arms, straight legs, reach for the sky. Again, that shoulder blade neutral as the hand comes to the head and the head rests back. So the weight of the head is just gently increasing the stretch of the side body and the tricep. Straight arms, straight legs as you reach as far forward as you can. Hand lightly on the shin, ankle, or pinky toe side of the foot. Right hand goes to the back of the head, opening up the tricep, really working that armpit up towards the ceiling. Take a breath. Exhale, bend the knees, hands come down. Spin that back heel up. I'm going to slide back into down dog and lengthen it out. All right, looking forward, bend the knees, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold chin to chest. Inhale, rise up, get nice and tall. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, so this next round is going to involve using a block in the hands. Now, you absolutely do not have to use a block. You can do everything that we're going to do without it, but the block gives you some good feedback in terms of where the shoulders are. So feel free to grab one or not, up to you. Top of the mat, here we go. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, have a seat down in your chair. Take the hands down, grab a block, sandwich it between your palms. We're going to inhale, rise up. Take the blocks and tap your shoulder blades. Bring it back up, sit down in your chair. Now, as you continue this pattern, we want to be careful that the elbows stay in line with the armpits. We don't want to flare them out to the side. Okay, so we're going to do one more. Inhale, rise up, tap the shoulder blades with the block, and then bring it back down into chair. From here, drop the block, forward fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, your vinyasa, or down dog, of course. I'm going to modify this time, so if you're interested, I'm going to rock forward to the tiptoes, lower the knees. Opening the chest up like cobra, shoulder heads back and down. Tap the elbows to the ribs, and then right back into down dog. It's a great way to start strengthening the shoulders, maybe with the idea of chaturanga one day. Inhale, right toes up in the sky. Exhale, kick that foot all the way through. Pause, grab your block if you'd like, sandwiching it between your hands, firing through the heels, crescent pose, rise up. All right, take a breath. Okay, kind of like what we did with our chair sequence. As we rise up, we're going to have straight arms, straight legs. And as we sink down, we're going to bend the knees, bend the elbows. Okay, now you can push into the block as hard as you want. The more you push, the more difficult it's going to be, the more energy, the more muscle. So feel free to push away. Keep the elbows in line with the armpits. Okay, last one here. Next time your arms and legs are straight, you're going to pause, look forward, lean forward, warrior three, bend, push, lift. Maybe you choose to stay here. Maybe you bend the elbows and tap the blocks to the shoulder blades for three, getting a little spicier, two, and last one. Whatever you chose, you're going to pause, bring the block toward your heart space, and bring the left knee into the chest. All right, you can stay here and work on balance or hugging that right outer hip in. We're going to go straight arms, straight legs, bent knees, bent elbows. Straight arms, straight legs, pushing through the heel, and then bend the elbows. One more. Whew. All right. From here, you're going to bring it all the way down. Step back. Bring yourself to the side of your mat. Heels in, toes out. Last little bit on this side with the block. Okay? Inhale, straight arms, straight legs. Exhale, shoulder blades neutral, not squished up in the ears as you come down. Inhale up. Exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows. So maybe pushing harder through the palms if that feels productive to you. And this is our last one right here. All right, we're going to bring it down. I'm going to walk forward, get rid of my block, slide it on back into down dog, vinyasa between sides if you'd like. And then we're going to do the second side and we'll have a little break. Inhale, left toes up. Exhale, kick it on through. All right, now as you grab that block, really fire through your back heel, strong through the legs as you rise up so you're not utilizing your low back. It's your legs that are bringing you up into this pose. All right, so it's straight arms, straight legs, bent knees, bent elbows. Do your best to keep the elbows in line with the shoulders so they're kind of hugging in towards one another rather than allowing to be flared to the side. Okay, last one is here. You've got some choices. Inhale, exhale, bend, push, lift, warrior three, focusing the back toes pointed down, focusing on that level low back. You can even put your block there if you want to make sure, or you can bend the elbows for three, for two, big chest opener, elbows towards the sky. Last one. Now everybody bring the block into the heart and the knee into the chest. All right, stay here, balance, focus, suck that left outer hip in, or straight arms, straight legs, bending the elbows as you bend the knee, keeping that chest nice and broad. Last one. All right, bring the block towards the floor as you step all the way back. We're gonna get rid of the block, step back, see you in down dog, lengthen it out. All right, drop the knees. We're going to rest here by threading the needle and stretching out the space between our shoulder blades. So take your right hand. You're going to sweep it as far as you can possibly reach before you drop the arm, before you drop the head. Okay, so from here, I'm going to sass my hips over to the right. And as I do that, I'm going to feel kind of a pulling or tugging stretch on the inner border of my right shoulder blade. If I want to increase this stretch, I'm going to pretend like I want to pull my arm back across the mat, but I actually don't move at all. It's just that energy of pulling back that you're going to feel that bigger stretch between the shoulder blades. One more nice big breath here. Kind of slowing things down, and then bring the hips back to center and bring yourself back up to hands and knees. Second side. Left hand is going to reach as far as you can possibly reach. Go, 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 go before you drop it down. Head. And then sass the hips to the left, and that's going to start your stretch, and you're more than welcome to just stay there if that's enough, or you can energetically pull that arm back from where it came from, feeling an increase in the stretch on that middle border of the left shoulder blade. Let's make sure that our breaths are the same as the beginning of class. The inhales that involve the belly, the ribs, and the chest, and you're exhaling to squeeze out all the old air. All right, hips back to center. Slowly bring yourself all the way back up to hands and knees. All right, so from here, you're going to drop to the forearms. And I want you to grab your biceps for just a second to make sure that your arms are close enough. And then once you can give them a good squeeze, we'll interlace the hands and drop. All right. Okay, so from here, I want you to lean forward, maybe with the idea of kind of smooching the thumbs, and then bring it down, resting the chest close to the thigh bones. As you come forward, maybe you get a little bit further, but again, we're not stressing anything. We're just kind of finding this passive range of motion, just seeing how much the shoulders have. Okay, last one, and then bring it back to neutral. We're going to make it active. So can you drive your elbows into the mat? And as you do so, you're going to feel a little arch of the upper back. You're going to feel all those muscles light up and kind of draw the rib cage up. Okay, perfect. Once you're there, keep it active. Keep pressing the elbows into the mat as you again find that active range of motion. So now you're using your strength here to keep all the joints stable. and you've got a little bit of weight bearing activity. Now you're welcome to stay here, because the idea here is we want the muscles to be long and strong. Sometimes it's really difficult to have both. In yoga, it's kind of our superpower. So stay here, or curl the toes, lift the hips. This is going to add more weight onto this. So only do it if it feels okay. Drive your elbows into the mat. Have that little bit of that lift of the rib cage as you move forward and as you move back, testing the waters of how far can you go forward, staying safe, how far can you go back? Because we absolutely want this great range of motion, but we want to be strong and stable in that range of motion. So we want to make sure that what we're getting is both strong and long, flexible and stable. Okay, after this last one, bring those knees down. All right, slowly work your way on up. Again, if you need a break here, grab a drink, wipe your face, get what you need. And then we've got one more flow. It's going to be with eagle arms. So we're going to be stretching the shoulder blades again. And then we're going to finish up with some myofascial release. And then we're going to come back to that block challenge and see how much this class influenced the muscles that we need for that. All right. So if you need a longer rest, you are more than welcome to rest for as long as necessary. If you'd like to move on, I will go ahead and see you in tabletop. Hugging those shoulders in, using all those stabilizer muscles that we just warmed up in those dolphin push-ups to step back into plank, to press back into down dog. Here we go. Inhale, right toes up in the sky. Exhale, kick it all the way through. Power through your heels as you rise up strong through the legs and secure through the core. All right, from crescent, eagle arms. Right arm goes forward like a karate chop. Left hand goes underneath. We did this laying down at the very beginning of class. You can choose to wrap the hands to the shoulders, or you can come up into that eagle bind, clapping the hands together. Take an inhale. Exhale, drive the elbows towards the knee, and then powerfully press to the heels as you rise back up, elbows towards the ceiling as much as you would like. You want to maintain that strong core so that you're not dumping into the low back. We don't want to feel compression there, okay? After this third round, we're going to pause. Coming into warrior three, bow down enough that you can see your blocks, and bend, push, lift. Because if you can stare at something stable, you're more likely to be stable. Stay here, or I'm going to bring the knee in to the elbows. Those little eagle crunches like we did on our backs at the beginning of class. After your third, pause. We're going to bring the knee all the way through. Find your funky chair. You can lose this bind anytime that you need for stability. Find your funky chair and hang out here. Or last round of those crunches. Down for 3, flexing the foot. For 2, keeping the gaze strong and steady. And then last one. Whew. All right, we're going to lose the bind. We're going to step all the way back. And then I'll see you in down dog. Last side, last set. This is it. Inhale, left toes up, toes pointed down. Exhale, kick it through. Push to the heels, strong through the legs, especially those outer hips that are your stabilizing muscles. Rise up, find your crescent. This time, left arm does the karate chop forward, right arm sweeps underneath. Find your choice of eagle bind and take an inhale. Exhale, elbows to knees, going as slow as you need. So absolutely move slower than what I am. If possible, it's with your breath. But crescent can be really tricky for balance. After your third, you're going to look at your blocks. Take an inhale. Exhale, bend, push, lift. Firm through that back leg. A lot of activity here. Stay here or drive the knee to the elbows, extending each time, hopefully, to maybe where that heel is in line with the hip. After your third, pause. Bring the knee in as you rise up. Find your ankle on top of the knee. Have a seat. Take a breath. Exhale, choose to stay or bring it down, rounding and doming the space between your shoulder blades. Finding that little bit of stretch there. Last one. All right. Inhale, rise up, straight arms. Bring the knee up. And then exhale, kick yourself all the way back. Hands down, toes down. And I'll see you in your last down dog. All right. Lengthen it out and drop the knees. Perfect. Okay, let's get to the good stuff. We had so much motion, so much movement through the shoulders. Now we're going to give them a little love with some myofascial release. So you're going to need a ball and a wall. I'm going to take this ball. I'm going to place it between my right shoulder blade and my spine. Okay, so I'm going to kind of toss it over my shoulder. You don't have to be super specific about the placement, just as long as it's not on bone. Okay. All right, so once you're here, I'm going to lean back, really doing my best to relax and let gravity do the work, okay? Now, this important step is I'm going to take my right arm, because my ball is right here on the right shoulder. I'm going to take my right arm across the body and kind of hang on to it almost like I've got a broken arm in a sling. That's going to help slide the shoulder blade around. Remember, we did that east and west motion. We're getting it out of the way because there can be a lot of good spots right underneath that shoulder blade, and they kind of get hidden when the shoulder blade's not pulled away. I'm going to start to move up and down. Oh, and I can already feel a spot right there. Whew, so I'm going to stop. The idea of movement is for you to find your intense spots. And then once you have one of those spots like I have right now, you're going to freeze and you're going to do your best to relax into it, because your body's going to feel that and go, oh my gosh. And it has the tendency to brace and then kind of push the ball out like, hang on, is this okay or not? So you want to do your best to take a big breath, to melt into it, to allow that pressure to seep in, and you're basically ironing out wrinkles. So once that wrinkle is taken care of, I'm going to go looking for my next one, which is not too far away. We kind of have this idea of this iron, on a really wrinkled shirt. And, some of the wrinkles you pass over once and they're gone. Others, you got to have to hold that iron there for a little longer until the wrinkle finally releases and lets go. And that's kind of what we're doing here. We're just slowly taking that iron over the shirt. And then once you're like, ooh, that's good, I'm going to pause, hold that iron on there, and I'm going to just really listen to my body, because at some point there's going to be a release. There's going to be oh, okay, that's not as intense as it was. And then I will take the iron back up and down the shirt, okay? So there's a little bit of right and left movement there. You've got a little space between the shoulder blade and the spine, so if you want to explore that, feel free. But the area that we're going for is from the top of the shoulder blade to the bottom of the shoulder blade, right here. It's a little bit bigger space than you might think, so take your time kind of exploring that area. If you don't have much at the top, you might want to sneak the ball further down or put it, under here. For me, I know all my gunk is right at the tippy top. And I'll be here for just about one more minute. This is probably, in my experience, the most addicting myofascial release, just because you find so much stuff to investigate that people will tend to stay here way too long, and they'll want to get out every tiny little wrinkle they find, and they really want to go to town, and they're here for 20 minutes or something like that. And while I understand the idea of wanting to get out all those wrinkles, we really just want to take maybe 3 to 4 minutes on each side and then leave it be. And then the next day we can come back and do the same thing, noticing, hey, there's not as many wrinkles, or they're not quite as intense. Okay, I'm going to take that ball out. I'm going to do some shoulder rolls just to kind of notice maybe my range of motion has changed, maybe sensations have changed, maybe I don't have that funky clunky that I had before. And then we'll do the other side. So take it between the left shoulder blade and the spine. And then as soon as you're kind of settled into your space and you've taken a second to relax, I'm going to go ahead and draw that elbow around and hang on to it. So as I start to slowly move up and down, and I do mean slowly, investigating. If we go fast, then the brain really just doesn't have time to register like, oh, that's the spot we need. So you just want to go slow and lazy so that the tissue responds appropriately to that pressure. It melts and sinks rather than braces and protects. Ooh, got a good spot there. I'm going to breathe it out for a second. Again, you want to do what your body is telling you to do. If it's telling you to go up higher or lower, it's gonna tell you where your spots are. And then don't be afraid to move the ball quite a bit lower. We have all the way down here, almost to that kind of mid back, where the bottom of your shoulder blade is. So feel free to explore all that area and note it, and just know that one side will be very different from the other. Okay. Usually my right tends to be a bit grumpier than my left. And a little bit of difference, again, like we talked at the beginning of class, a little bit of difference. It's being human. Okay, we're going to be asymmetrical. But if it's wildly different, if it is, oh my goodness, I had no idea, then it might be your body's way of telling you that there's such a big difference, there's such an asymmetry that it needs to be addressed before an injury happens. So listen to what your body's telling you, take in all that information, and then if it is wildly different, you might dedicate 3 to 4 minutes a day doing this until the sides even out. Do set a timer though, because like I said, man, you could just stay here forever trying to address every little bit that I'm feeling. Whew. We're just here for a little bit longer. Keep up your breath work. There's a good spot. And then the idea here is that if you do choose to do this every day for a while, what you're going to feel is either a decrease in spots, so you're not going to have as many spots to address, or an overall decrease in sensation. You're not hitting an 8 out of 10 anymore. You're hitting, a 5 out of 10. So you want to look for those signs of progress if you choose to do this myofascial release technique every day for a bit to even out your sides. All right, let's go ahead and come on off of that. Again, shoulder rolls, we always want to move the area that we massaged, get some motion in it. We just hydrated all those layers of tissue, so should be feeling pretty good. All right, so putting that ball away, let's go ahead and grab the block one more time before Shavasana to do that block challenge. Okay. All right, so if you want to do it standing, great. I think I did it seated at the beginning of class, so I'll seat just for the sake of the same. All right, with that champagne flute tray, you're going to go in towards the body, out away from the body, up overhead, draw a halo, and then bring it all the way back to center. So as you do it one more time, maybe you're more successful there's a lot of ways to determine that. Maybe it was smoother. Maybe you didn't feel as many clicks. Maybe you didn't drop the block. Maybe you didn't feel like you had to grab the block so much. Maybe it just felt like you had a greater range of motion going in. Maybe you were terrible on one side, and now that side's like, oh, it's a little bit more functioning now. Okay? In, out, up overhead, big halo, and then back to center. All right, well, hopefully lots of awesome progress there. Get rid of all of your props. We're going to head into Shavasana. All right, I think Watson has been in Shavasana for the last hour. Hey, buddy. All right, I'm going to take, hi. You can take a full body stretch, reach the fingers and the toes, and then bring it on down. All right, we want this opportunity to really hone in on that shoulder area that we influenced. So as you start to tap into the breath, recognize that your breath dictates how your body responds. So we want these mindful breaths that are going to tell the nervous system that you're safe. It's time to relax, so we don't need to stay on high alert. Then begin to use these breaths to kind of blaze a trail up and down the body, head to toes and toes back up to the nose. Each time the breath moves up and down the body, see if you can bring in one more piece of information. What we're trying to do is create a brand new blueprint for the brain to latch onto. This idea that the shoulders are different, better, more mobile, maybe less grumpiness, less tension. And we want that to stick. The brain has a tendency to hold on to a pattern. And unless you really change that pattern, it just kind of goes on autopilot to it each time. So as you continue to breathe up and down, cover every square inch with your awareness and see if you can bring in something like my shoulder blades feel more symmetrical on the floor. Maybe more of the back is touching the mat. Maybe the neck feels longer, the shoulder head's closer to the earth. You might feel heat from the blood flow. You might feel a wrinkle in your clothes. All of this is great information for the brain. The more detailed, the better. Creating this new blueprint. We're getting rid of the default. And we are putting in this brand new information for a brand new default mode. keeping your eyes closed. Take one more cycle of breath, one more opportunity to bring in one more piece of information to create this new blueprint. And then as you release the intention of bringing in information, do your best to keep the mindful breath work as you begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Bring back just enough life into the body to reach up overhead, maybe choosing to compare this full body stretch with the beginning of class, noticing if there's anything that feels better, different. And then gently draw the knees into the chest, maybe exploring the low back and the hips, noticing if there's any differences there created throughout class. Find any movement you would like before you gently roll all the way over to the right side body, using the right arm as a pillow. Getting heavy and taking a moment to get just as still as you were in Shavasana. Take this one last cycle of breath as a way to hit the reset button. The idea that whatever happened before your time on the mat does not need to influence or follow you off to the time after the mat. One big inhale to gather up what you need for that purpose, and one exhale to leave behind anything that shouldn't follow you out of this room. As you gently roll up to a seated position, take your time stacking the spine, ears over shoulders, over hips. Sit tall, hands to heart center. Thank you so very much for taking the time to prioritize your wellness, knowing that it is impossible to serve others from an empty cup. So thank you for taking time to fill your cup today. It was my honor to lead you through the class. Namaste.